Okay. Okay, now we are recording. So welcome everybody to this Kubewarden office hours meeting, this community meeting. As usual, maybe you are seeing this right now live with us, or you are seeing it at home, recorded and at a later time. Just a reminder of the rules, super fast. As usual, we are nice with each other, and everybody is invited to take notes during office hours. Everybody is invited to add topics for upcoming sessions. The topic lists is on a Docs Google page that it's listed on kubewarden.io. If you go a bit down, you will see the schedule with the calendar and so on. Normally, sessions are recorded for people who can attend and are posted on YouTube. So maybe you're watching that there. But if you are thinking on joining and would like to not be recorded, then we just can accommodate you. And if there's any concerns about the things, please raise things with Olivier, which is a colleague, Olivier at burning.me, or Flavio, which is here with us, Flavio at Kwctl.me. So for today, Thursday, 14th of September, we have one topic, which is the Kubewarden 1.7.0 release, an update on that. And then we have a little report on container days. And we were also thinking on talking about newcomers to the Kubewarden team, in this case, Fabrizio and John, which are here with us. So I hope that you can see them in the thumbnails. If not, you will see them later. I suppose we can start with the Kubewarden 1.7.0 release. Maybe Flavio, no, was the one that wanted to have a go.
Yeah, I mean, it's fine. I just was the one who wrote it down because I think it's a pretty important topic. So we are really close to publishing this release of Kubewarden. We went through 2 release candidates, and now we are about to tag the final one. We were discussing about that on Slack right before this meeting. The container images are all out there. The only thing which is missing is a new Helm chart that can be used to install the whole system. This is blocked by some small issues that Jose fixed in the meantime. So after this meeting or tomorrow morning, someone will take a look and we will tag the final release candidate. So far, everything seems to be great, looking good. So I think we can be confident saying that next week we will have the final release. So this is good. We are also building up some contents for the website to talk about the major features about this release. I don't want to spoil too much, but I mean, we already have shown some of those features in the past. So we have an audit scanner coming up, which is working really nice. Jordan also did some really nice integration inside of the Rancher UI for Kubewarden to show the policy reports. And then we have WASI policies coming in with a special policy that was like, you know, the root cause for us, you know, to go into defining this new set of policy. I don't want to spoil too much about that. And yeah, I don't know. Do you want to add other things? Do you want to say other things?
I'm remembering, for example, the changes done by Fabrizio on Kwctl. Maybe Fabrizio, we can. I mean, this is a completely informal meeting, so Fabrizio, if you feel like joining and talking about the changes.
Yeah, sure. So yeah, there were some changes regarding how we actually refer to policies when using the CLI tool Kwctl. And the reasoning was that we thought that users could be interested in having something familiar to what they have in Docker, for instance, where you can refer to images and running containers by their SHA. And so we implemented the same. So now Kwctl can triggers commands against pulled policies in your store by using the SHA or like the prefix of your SHA. So this actually is very similar to what Dogger does. So for instance, if you want to run a policies which has like SHA-613B and something else, you could do kwctl run 6, and it will work as long as the 6 is not duplicated with another SHA. So this is it.
Yeah, sounds great, to be honest. And let's take this opportunity to say hi now and welcome to Fabrizio as a core contributor to Kubewarden, which is nice always to see the contributors going up. We also have John as a contributor to Kubewarden. John, would you like to present yourself and talk about what you have been lately working on?
Yes, yeah. Hi, everybody. I've not much of a background in open source so far. I come from the library world, where I worked at Lancaster University Library for many years, and looking after library management systems, so system admin background really. And recently, I've been doing some technical documentation work, and I've ended up with SUSE, and it's going great so far. And so I just wanted to show you a little bit about the sort of things I've been taking a look at. So I'm going to have a go at sharing my screen here.
Let's see. Yep, we have it.
Okay, great. So this is the documentation site that you know and love. And I have to say, it was already pretty much in the sort of organization which I would hope to see a technical documentation site. And we've been working around this sort of documentation framework recently. Possibly you may have come across it before, and you may have come across it as being the Divio framework, which the person who developed this used to work at Divio and has moved on. And this now exists as a standalone documentation framework, which we'd like to adopt. So tutorials, how-to guides, explanation, reference, and that's the sort of approach that we're taking. And you can see tutorials, explanations, how-tos, and reference on the docs website. So that's all great. So of course, we're standard open source project, so everything's available at GitHub, and we welcome contributions. You can have a look at the issues and add issues, documentation issues, and you can see some of the sort of things here, area documentation that I've been working on. One of the things I've picked up recently is, just to go back here, most of these current issues are just about reviewing the current documentation, giving it a refresh, sharpening up the language, and making things a bit more approachable. So as part of that recently, well, we had quite a few pages like this, where we have plenty of console type output or JSON or commands, and it's all quite busy on the screen, and it doesn't, it's not wonderfully readable. This is the bit that you want to be reading and concentrating on, and then dipping into these bits to refer to it. So we've started doing things like hiding that sort of stuff in expandable boxes, I suppose, and you can click into them to see long sections of YAML, for example. And I've also been adding things like this highlighting, so using highlighting within console blocks, so that when we're talking about run user 1 can't be set to 0, then it's immediately obvious in this large section of YAML where it's located, and you can easily follow the thread that we're trying to explain. So that's the sort of stuff I have and that we've been working on. So thank you very much for the opportunity to share that.
Yeah, happily. So both of you, welcome. Maybe I have been a bit short on presenting both of you, but yeah, I suppose you will pop up in the future, so we will have more of you anyways.
Can I
Flavio,
just say one thing?
Yes.
I absolutely love the changes that John did. We are using this system called Docusaurus, and I haven't written the full manual of Docusaurus, and I didn't know about some of the things that he brought back, and I really love, for example, the highlight. This is really nice, and I didn't know about that. And for example, I think if you go under, the tutorial for writing a goal-based policy, I did some really nasty things, like, into the source code, I put comments with like comment note number 1, note number 2, and then I added like the footprints. And yeah, I think this highlighting thing could increase the readability of the world tutorials and guides. So this is really nice. Thanks.
Yeah, it's worth pointing out that I'm fairly new to Docusaurus myself, so hopefully there'll be a few more of these hidden gem type of things that we can start utilizing for the docs.
And also about the DVO system, this is, by the way, the recommended system that CNCF pushes also for all its projects. So yeah, it's good that we were already using that, I think, before joining CNCF, thanks to DVO, who was helping us with the doc. So, but yeah, that's pretty cool.
I agree. What can I say? Yeah, no, perfect. So yeah, talking about community contributors, we have had others contributing open MPRs, not only to these kind of things, other things. No, I'm just do a reminder for them, if they feel like joining in this forum, feel free, and see you in follow-ups. Okay. So I think that the last topic that we have today would be the container days attendance from the Kubewarden team. I suppose I will start with that. And for that, I was the one being in Germany that I attended the conference. Let me just share, because I have some silly photos. I promise it's not gonna be, like a one of those trip slideshows things. Okay, this should be. Is it showing? Okay.
Yep.
Yeah. What can I say? Container days. Now it's showing. Container days. So container days is a small event. It lasts 3 days. It happens in Hamburg. It's around 1,000 people, 900, something like that. It's all surrounded container, cloud, DevOps, these kind of things. So yeah, it's kind of like the type of people that we expect to see. This is from the dinner arriving for the speakers arriving on Sunday. Maybe I should take back that thing that I said, that it was not going to be a slideshow of a trip. So yeah, it's nice because the speakers are pretty welcoming and the organization is pretty welcoming. And you can see here the main stage. This is the first keynote. This is the main stage, which it's super nice and it was packed. Besides this, there were people to the sides. And this is the presentation from Kubewarden. So it would be me in the stage, and we have the presentation. The presentation was about building the universal policy, which is us, and how we are trying to do that. And it ran for 35 minutes, and it's recorded. It will be available. So I suppose we can link to it in the future. And we had great attendance, and we had a lot of questions. I reserved 5 minutes or so for questions, and they kept coming, and we ran out of time. And also I had questions outside the recorded thing from the audience. So that was great. So container days, how does it look like? It's a small, cozy conference, but that's nice because it means a lot of networking and a lot of learning. Sometimes one goes to big conferences and doesn't see so much. It's kind of like two sides of this. So it's kind of like two corridors like this. This one is from last year. We have been a regular, the Kubewarden team in Container Days. No, Flavio, you have had several, then other, I don't know, I don't think we can count them with
Yeah,
one
I think
hand.
since the creation of the project, we always had a talk over there. So we have been really lucky and we really feel honored about this opportunity.
And we keep being selected, so that's nice. We had Rafa also. We had, I mean, no, I'm forgetting people, but yeah,
Raul did the talk
Raul
too.
also, yeah. We have had several from the Kubewarden team presenting there, which is great. And yeah, the conference has has its angles with some social approaches. So there were like some ice hockey things, tournaments for ice hockey, tournaments for Super Tuskar, and so on, which is great. Then you are in the queue and you have trapped people, me included, that just talk about technology and so on. And yeah, that's it basically. You can see it's cozy, so a lot of talk and a lot of networking. I wonder if you are curious about specifics on the conference, but I suppose if not, that would be it. Oh, and that's me, by the way. And also we had a little dog from the organizers, and it's so cute. I just needed to end with this.
In terms of security, did you see any interesting topic, or did you learn about any interesting technology?
Yes, I can say that. So there was a lot of security topics. I don't know if I'm still showing the slides,
No,
but
you're
I
not
would be
showing the
happy.
slides anymore here.
Perfect. There were a lot of interesting topics. Half were security topics, which is great. There were a lot of security, Kubernetes security management solutions. Some of them as SaaS, some of them closed. Some of them I feel that had a good representation there, but maybe it's because the organization driving the conference was, had several talks and so on. So maybe that's it. What can I say? I have a list of things, but yeah. There were also some public cloud representation and, cloud providers representation, which meant that there were several people with marketplaces. That's great for Kubewarden also to be there. And there were several people making, evaluating policy engines. So that's great to talk with people evaluating policy engines and talk about Kubewarden differences and Kubewarden benefits and trade-offs and approaches. So yeah, all in all, I think it was great.
Thanks, Victor.
Thanks to you. So yeah, I suppose that's gonna be it for today's topics, folks. Do you, as your humble presenter, so to speak, do you have any other topics in mind? Last moment topics?
I have something, maybe we can try it. So because we since so far we have always reported back on what we have been working on, but this kind of meeting is also an opportunity to have conversation discussions about the direction of the project, what to do next. So for the ones who are watching that, please reach out to us on Slack to talk about this kind of things. And I would like to bring up a specific example. This is a minor thing. So Kwctl, we are going to redo the way we write the end-to-end test of Kwctl, which are currently written using Bats, which is a tool that basically leverages like bash to drive execution of comments, and then you can use it to write like assertions that looks like, is the command exiting with exit 0, if it is not 0, what is on the standard error, and then you make some checks against, you know, the message on the standard error is supposed to be like a failure of this type, and so we write a test in this way, and so we are going to move in a different direction, and I don't want to dig too much into that because it's more specific to Kwctl contributors. But one of the reasons why we're moving away from it is because bats is it's a bit clumsy to use, and a lot of those assertions you have to write them using bash and, you know, pipe stuff into other comments, and then you suddenly start to rely on things like JQ to parse JSON output, or YQ to parse YAML output, and this is this becomes a bit of a nightmare, you know. And so what I want to discuss is we are using bats also for writing end-to-end tests inside of the policy. So you are someone who is going to use a Kubewarden ready-to-consume policy. You go on Artifact Hub, you find a policy, you read the documentation, you do a Kwctl pull, and then you start to play around with it by feeding into the policy, into Kwctl run. You feed into it like a fake request, a pre-recorded one, you tune the settings, and then you have to write some assertions. And what we do is we are using bats as well for all our policies, and we are kind of encouraging everybody to also use bats. So if you are an administrator of Kubernetes doing evaluation of Kubewarden and you want to write some end-to-end tests for the policies, you can do that using bats, using Kwctl inside of your CI/CD systems. But you know, then there is the same struggle of, you know, looking into the JSON output and, you know, doing this kind of assertion. So I was wondering, would it be worth to add like a new subcommand to Kwctl, maybe a Kwctl test or a Kwctl run? I don't know. And then, you know, I have some fuzzy ideas about that, you know, like, you know, provide like a description of this is the request, these are the settings, and this is the expected outcome, which can be, you know, like should fail with this error, and then, you know, work and then, you know, leverage the instead of relying on JQ, we build all this logic into Kwctl. So you have one single binary, one easy way to specify all of that. So what do the others here think, and the ones watching that, you're welcome to bring up the topic on Slack.
So you will need a way also to kind of like run multiple tests with Kwctl. Otherwise, you will be still, you know, leveraging your CI system, and then having, instead of having bats, you would have, I don't know, GitHub action that would be clumsy because you need to write a lot of. I think it's for Kwctl test that we are testing, kind of like this the CLI. It's more ergonomic going to Rust because those tests are oriented towards developers, and for people that are consuming the policies, yeah, well, there could be an advantage, like to have something that is already scripted without installing bots. But I also feel that it's kind of like it's not easy to provide such features, because you have to, like, I don't know, maybe they need to write those in a YAML, for instance, like all the test cases, and then you need to parse this YAML and so on. So yeah, it would be nice to have something bundled inside the Kwctl, but yet maybe it's a bit of work to reach that point. So that's the only, it's all about the effort. So yeah, I think the idea is great in the sense that you don't need, because it's not only bots, like we started with kind of like these assumptions that those tests are bash, but they are not, because you need to install actually bats and JQ and, you know, other things. And it also depends what you're querying, because if you're querying something really hard and then you have to match it against a regular expression, then it's hard to do with bats in a way. So I see the struggle. So yeah, but transform Kwctl in a test runner somehow, it's also like kind of complex. So we need to think about it to find the right balance, I guess.
I see Jose nodding. Maybe you feel like adding something?
Yeah, I would just say that I agree with Fabrizio. I prefer doing something like a kind of testing library using the SDK language like Go, something similar what we do for Kwctl when we're writing Rust, but specific for policies and wrap around all the logic to launch the commands and validation, this kind of thing, in using a library instead of using Kwctl test command, I would say, because it's too similar to like what just Fabrizio said. It's too I, it do, I mean, it sounds weird to me that you have just a test and it's almost the same as Kwctl run, but one just layer, one more layer in the end. But I mean, I don't know. Maybe people have the different opinions. Yeah.
What about adding some, I don't know, some part of the SDK where you could actually like use to write your own tests, end-to-end tests in the language that you choose for the SDK itself? So for instance, in Go, you add, like in Rust, you could add the same that we use for Kwctl, the same library, like Exposed, and then you would actually like run those tests in the language that you choose for. I don't know, just an idea.
That's interesting. Yeah. I have to say there that maybe it could be that the consumer of the end-to-end test is not the policy writer, but a policy consumer or a policy user. So we should keep that in mind. But
I
yeah,
think it
I
should
think
be.
that. Yep.
Go ahead, sorry.
No, please.
No, I agree with what you're saying. So sorry.
And I think we
yeah.
have some kind of some little testing structure in some of the SDKs. If my memory is not wrong, I think we have some kind of thing like something there, but I'm not sure. Maybe I'm daydreaming or something. I don't know.
I fear this will become too technical. I think the goal for the end-to-end test is for someone who is not a developer, and he just wants to be sure that the policies is going to deploy inside of his cluster. They are working the way he expects. These are policies that may be found on Artifact Hub, for example. So he needs to do something quick. And maybe, for this kind of personas, having to deal with JQ is perfect because they already used to do that. So, yeah.
Well, I mean, the suggestion that you presented doesn't mean that they cannot keep using JQ. So, hey, that's not bad. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, to be honest, Flavio, you're the one that was there now since the beginning for writing Kwctl. So I do value your opinion in that sense. Fabrizio, were you gonna say something? Sorry, I cut you.
Maybe we could find some, test runner which is easy to use and also not, not based on Bash, JQ, and so on, which already has the same, I don't know, regular expression or I don't know, YAML parsing bounded. I'm thinking because, yeah, I saw some projects which are like mainly C projects, and then you go in the tests, and then the tests are written in Python, for instance. Like I don't know, like window managers, or because they're really hard to test in C, or like to do this in end-to-end tests. So they actually wrote tests in Python. That could be a way, but you could say, okay, then the people needs to learn Python, but I think it's easier than having to deal with Go or Rust itself. Maybe it's more approachable and a middle way between the end-to-end test written in Bash and the end-to-end test written in some like proper language, let's say traditional language.
There is an open source project called Venom that is a unit test runner. We are using that for a policy server for doing the integration test of policy server. It's a Go binary, so standalone, and you write in YAML what it has to do. It could be like it is pretty flexible. It can make a HTTP request, or it can start comments, and then it checks the exit status, and it can also look into the output, like it has like the JQ built into it. This is also why, I mean, I brought up the topic. I mean, I think that we have a lot of interesting things to work on in Kubewarden, probably more important than that. But maybe this is a pain point for the community. So if the community thinks that this is an area where we should be focusing, then sure, let's have a conversation with everybody about that.
Yeah, I agree. And by the way,
Very good
Venom
point.
allows you to write plugins, if I'm not wrong. So you can have a specific one for Kubewarden policy, if you want.
Nice.
I think so. Yeah, because I think they have something for Kubernetes, Kwctl stuff, this kind of thing. But I think you can write your own. Then we have a special search for your kind of test that we are performing. But I mean, we need to double check that, but I'm pretty sure that is able to do that.
I think it's a good idea. Like it looks like familiar for people that maybe then they are used to do operations and just that, and not really development. So this could be.
It's indeed a good idea. I mean, as usual, no. I mean, I'm talking right now with the voice of the team because I'm currently the host of the call, but that doesn't mean anything. As usual, yeah. Well, you have seen a gist of what part of the Kubewarden team, how we treat dealing with new ideas, features, bugs, and so on. So this will end up as a we can see Venom.
Yeah, this is what I was talking about. So in case someone is watching the video and wants to find it, it's on GitHub ovh/Venom. So yeah, that's
Yeah, in the middle of the page, I think you can see user-defined executors. I think that's the thing that I was trying to have first too. Is up is like concepts, executors, and then user-defined executors.
Oh yeah,
I think this is the one.
Nice.
We can define one. I think so. But anyway,
yeah.
Yeah.
Sounds good. And yeah, I suppose this would end up as an RFC on an RFC repo, and then we can just discuss it more formally just in case. And as the team has said, as Flavio has said, and as the other has said, if you are part of the community and you would be looking forward to this kind of feature or a different approach, just get in contact. We are happy, to explore these kind of things. Okay, so any more topics we could have for today on this community call? I see people nodding, but negatively, so I suppose that means we don't have any more topics. So what can I say? Many thanks for joining us today here, and many thanks for listening to us if you are watching this at a later date. And see you around and enjoy the rest of the day. Ciao.
Bye-bye. See you in a month.
Thank you. Bye.
See you. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye, guys.